For whatever reason, third sequels are always doomed to fail. Just look at the history. Terminator 3, Shrek the Third, Spider-Man 3, Godfather 3. They're just to name a few. Let us know others down in the comments down below. The third sequel completely shits the bed. And we expected the same to happen with Toy Story 3. But why didn't it happen? Probably because they left such a big gap. That might have aided it so that they could come up with a good script. They also allowed the character development to go through all three of the films fantastically well, and they moved on in the story. They didn't just go, right, let's keep them all at the same age. They decided to go, no, what, we need to make Andy older to make the age gap make sense. And by making him older, they had a brand new story to tell of Andy now having to leave his house because he's going to college, and he doesn't play with these toys anymore. What's he going to do with them? Is he going to put them in the attic? He could do. Sometimes we do that, like if you're moving on and you decide to go, no, I'll just shove it up in the attic. Or does he decide to get rid of it? That's the thing that he was trying up in his head. He decided he wanted to put them in the attic. However, that's where the problem goes wrong, because as he was distracted by his sister, his mum then takes this bag where all these toys were going to go in the attic down into the garbage and down into the rubbish bin. And it looked as if with the toys that were in the bag, that Andy's mum basically thrown them out into the rubbish, so they're no longer wanted anymore, in which weren't the case at all. Andy's mum just got confused. But that just made for a brand new story, seeing how we're going to deal with Lotso hugging Bear.
Well, hello there. I thought I heard new voices.
This might be a bold statement, but the main reason why this movie was a massive success was Lotso. And this movie doesn't work without him. And I'll tell you why. Simple reason being the whole movie surrounds Lotso. Simply every little thing you can think of. Even Woody going off gallivanting to try to go back to Andy. He then has to come back to save his rest of his friends from who? Lotso. Everything surrounds around Lotso. And I think he was such an integral part because he felt like an unstoppable tyrant, which was also had a different side to him. He would pretend to be, when they first got introduced to Lotso, as this nice hugging bear, no pun intended, but seemed to be a nice friendly face until they saw the real Lotso and they started to break one or two rules, and that's it. Then he locked it down and treated them like they were in a prison, turned Buzz against them, all these things, and tortured toys basically to fall in line with his system. If they didn't fall in line, they were thrown away, because that's a mindset he's now got. Simple reason being, he was replaced himself by another version when his owner lost him, and their parents, instead of, you know what, going out and looking for that old teddy bear, they went and bought her a brand new one. And this then caused him to turn into the animal that we later see in this film. And I think that is brilliant. That the whole development side, from him being a nice cuddly kid's toy and being and having an owner, to them being the guy that we see in Sunnyside Daycare, or being a tyrant leader, which will do nothing but beat down the toys that are not falling in line with how he sees toys and how he sees his vision of what Sunnyside Daycare should be. And if you don't believe me how evil Lotso is, just check out what he did to Mr. Potato Head.
The prisoner Mrs. Roll Call spends the night in the box.
That, my friends, is brutal. However, something that I really enjoyed about this film was Woody going off gallivanting and getting out. And after the toys arrived at Sunnyside Daycare, Woody was like, no, we need to go back to Andy. Andy's the one that's our owner. And they were sort of making the point that Andy ditched us. He threw us out to the garbage. He doesn't want us anymore. So Woody ends up going off on his own to try to get back to Andy. However, in doing his plan to escape, Bonnie picks him up and takes him back to hers. And then on talking to the toys, he realised what a bastard that Lotso actually is. And now that he needs to get him out of there, because I think that was such an incredible part of the story, because that made Woody then turn into this leader and would do anything to save his friends from this massive tyrant. And the place of Sunnyside Daycare Centre, which looked a promising place, and that the friends were basically tricked into coming in, oh, it's a nice, warm, lovely place, to being a cold, prison-like experience for them. And I think it was great then Woody going back and saving them in the manner that he does, puts a plan in place to help those guys escape. However, I think it's also worth mentioning that Buzz being turned against his friends was awesome, but not as awesome as seeing Buzz speak in Spanish when they get the configuration wrong of switching him from being a bad guy to being a good guy again after Lotso and his friends started to mess around with Buzz's controls.
Me debo de haber estrellado y se me ha borrado la memoria.
But yeah, this was hilariously funny. The ending though was great. I think it was well written. I think it was the best part about the film because the suspense levels were on a high level from the prison break of the Sunnyside Daycare Centre. It felt like that of Wentworth Mill and Dominic Purcell escaping the prison break. I think this felt that similar because that takes us to the junkyard now where they're trying to escape a fiery mess. And who comes to save them? The aliens from like the first two films. I love it. Lotso gets put in front of a truck, in which is pretty funny because that actually looks like Sid from Toy Story 1. But yeah, this then sets up the thing where you get the last send-off of Andy playing with his toys with Bonnie, and it's a cool little quirky moment of them gathering and trying to play with these toys together, and it's sort of like Andy's last goodbye away from the toys. And I think it was a special moment. Nostalgia hit you quite a bit, and it honestly made some people cry in the cinema watching this. It is one of the best and iconic moments now in animation history. And this, my friends, is how this should have ended Toy Story, not with the end of Toy Story 4, which we'll get onto in the next movie review. Before we jump back into this video, guys, please do us a massive favour and smash that subscribe button because you do not want to miss a thing this week, next week, and the week after, because we've got tons and tons of content planned for you guys, and you can do us a massive favour by smashing that subscribe button, joining the community, getting updates to all the latest videos from the YouTube shorts to the actual videos. It is well worth it, completely free, and you will not regret it. So to summarise Toy Story 3, of all the Toy Story movies, this is definitely one that plucks on those heartstrings, hence why this is a 9.3 out of 10 and a legendary film, as it doesn't get better probably than this in terms of what you're going to get. Probably, yeah, Toy Story 1 and 2 might be better for nostalgia, but for the heartstrings, the storytelling, it's on a different level. Hence why it's a 9.3 out of 10, a legendary film. Let us know your thoughts of this movie down those comments down below. Is it good, bad, terrible, amazing? Let us know all that jazz down those comments down below. And if you haven't yet seen our Toy Story 2 movie review, then go ahead and check that out right now.